The goal of this project is to increase the population of the threatened Kincaid's lupine. Kincaid's lupine is a beautiful prairie plant that is endemic to Oregon and Washington. Here in the Willamette Valley, it is primarily found in upland prairies. The trouble is, an estimated 99% of our native prairies have been lost due to land use changes and fire restrictions, so there are very few places left for this species to live. You might think, why is it important to save this one plant? There's lots of other plants. There's lots of other lupine. There's a lupine in my garden. The thing is, everything is interconnected, and when you lose one species, that has a knock-on effect that impacts many other things. For example, Kincaid's lupine is the host plant for the Fender's blue butterfly. This butterfly only lays its egg on Kincaid's lupine. They've co-evolved together. So when you restore the lupine, you are also restoring the butterfly. And there are many other species like this that rely on prairies, like western meadowlark and western bluebird. So if you restore habitat for Kincaid's lupine, you help them too. One of the problems with restoring rare plant and animal species is that they're only found on small, isolated sites, such as this one. They're called remnant sites. Remnant sites used to be part of a much larger ecosystem, but over time they've become hemmed in by other development. For example, at this site, you can see there's a vineyard, and there's also residential housing and agriculture to the south. If something were to happen at this site, for example, a flood or a fire, this population could become extirpated. So instead of focusing on one site, for this project, we're working across multiple sites to create redundancy for the species and help it for the future. When we restore native plant and butterfly populations, we have a lot more restrictions on the types of herbicides that we can use. And this poses a problem because, of course, we still have invasive, aggressive species that we need to deal with. So one way around that is by placing this black tarp on areas where we have invasive species that we need to manage. By placing the black tarp over top, sunlight is not able to reach those plants and it creates bare ground. So we're able to restore the rare plant populations in a herbicide-free way. To restore wild Kincaid's lupine populations, we have to grow a lot of plants. The trouble is, they're endangered, so the seed is not for sale. So what we do is we hand collect seed from wild populations, eventually growing little plugs like these. This little guy will be planted out in the fall in a remnant site to help restore the population and support endangered butterflies. To restore Kincaid's lupine, we first need to create bare ground. Bare ground allows for a high seed-to-soil contact, so we have the highest possible germination rate. It also removes competition from other plants, so Kincaid's lupine gets all of the water and all of the nutrients. One of the ways we create bare ground is by using prescribed fire. Fire has been used by indigenous people for millennia to manage our native prairies, and for good reason. Burning the prairie removes the vegetation, leaving behind bare ground, and it also adds ash, which brings back nutrients into the soil. We reintroduce Kincaid's lupine in a number of ways. If the site is flat, we like to come in and seed with a seed drill. This creates furrows in the soil, increases that important seed-to-soil contact. If the site is rocky, we use a belly bag, which is exactly what it sounds like. It's a little bag you carry on your belly, it's filled with seed that distributes it throughout the site. And we also plant plugs. This is a way to give the plants a helping hand because it lets them establish a root system before they are put out in the field. For this project, we have planted 80 pounds of seed and 10,000 plugs of Kincaid's lupine over 100 acres in the Willamette Valley.